From the top of the CBS Interactive building in San Francisco, it's the Byte Extra Crunchy podcast with your host, Brian Tong.
Thank you, Mr. Beecham, for that lovely, warm intro.
You're welcome.
You know how we do it. Once a week, we give it to you. The Byte Extra Crunchy. We are here to talk about, expand on a lot of the stories that we talk about on the actual Byte video podcast, but then there's always new news happening. There were like 2 or 3 more big stories that broke after we recorded the Byte show, so that's where we also talk about it here at the Byte Extra Crunchy. This is the place where you guys can also get involved with us on the show. 1-800-616-2638. We take your calls. We play your calls. We got some good calls today, right?
Yeah, we got
some solid ones. So we want you guys to participate and be a part of the show. We also live stream this on Livestream on YouTube.
Yes.
We've got our Periscope friends. I see all those hearts. If you love what we're doing, you just got to give me those hearts. See, now you can't see, but it's like it gets crazy. So welcome to the Byte podcast, Extra Crunchy, episode 24. We're going to jump into this. A lot of iPhone rumors and rumblings. We really know that the iPhone comes out in fall. It's January. People are already talking, and the big story this week comes from Bloomberg. Apple is said to be developing wireless charged iPhone 4 as soon as, not the iPhone 4, but 4, as soon as 2017.
Woo!
Wow, they're early to that party.
Yes, they're so late because Sony, Samsung, who else does it?
Nexus phones had it.
Lots of phones do it. But there is a difference.
There is.
With Apple's wireless charging.
Yeah, so what they're working on here, according to Bloomberg, is that they're working on developing a new wireless charging technology that could be deployed on its devices, but also the big thing here is range. Instead of it just being directly on one of those charging mats or those little pedestals that you get, they're talking about having a range not just within inches, but feet away from a actual wireless charging kind of station that sends out that signal. Just think about it. Think of it as Wi-Fi, but it's Wi-Fi charging.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? Now, they haven't described how far this range will go because as you move further away from this charging base station wirelessly,
it gets weaker.
Yeah, the transmitter, it gets weaker. It might take longer to charge. But Apple, even as far back as 2010, they have a patent application with this concept of actually using an iMac as the hub for wireless charging.
Yeah, so if it's just sitting on your desk, wherever your desk office is, that's your charging hub. And if you're wandering around your office, your phone's just constantly charging. I think that's an awesome idea.
It's right now that patent, as described, just talks about recharging at a distance of about 1 meter using a technique called near-field magnetic resonance. So this is similar to induction charging with its watch, but that's within millimeters. This is a further range. There was also another Apple patent that really talked about making aluminum phone casings that would allow radio waves to pass through.
Yes.
So pass through the casing to the battery. So these are all indicators of what Apple is trying to do, what they're working on.
Which
I'm all
would be
for
a
it.
game changer if that did come out.
It would be,
I mean,
as long as other companies don't beat them to the punch that have already created wireless charging, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, depending on how far this charging capability will allow you to move. Like if you can go through your whole apartment and your phone's charging, that's awesome.
That would be sweet.
If I can steal some charge from my neighbors too, that'd be dope.
Give it to me. So we have that kind of story that broke, but then also earlier in the week, if we're still sticking to the iPhone 7, a news story from KGI Securities analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, who has sometimes made up some things, but typically over the past few years has actually been pretty on it. He reports that the iPhone 7 will have, obviously, the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus. But in addition to that, it's likely to have 2 different 7 Plus models that are in development right now. One with the standard single iSight rear-facing camera, and another one boosting a dual camera design.
3D.
Like dual lens camera system, dual lens is the same thing. I can't even talk. But where are like kind of the breadcrumbs here of how this might happen? Apple acquired a company, an Israeli camera tech company called Lynx Imaging last year, and they have multiple basically camera sensors into one specific piece. It also, the way that their tech is built allows you to have a flat camera.
Oh
so
yeah, so it's
it
not
won't be
protruding anymore.
you won't have that little wobble. I call it the eyesight nipple, right? It's just there on your camera.
Which
The-
would be great.
And then also just the actual visual benefits you get from here. The results are it has better low lighting capability. It has higher resolution. They like to talk about it. I know it's people get like, there's no way it's SLR quality, right? I know my cameras, my Canons, my Nikons.
They're
No.
throwing that around.
But they
a
like
lot.
to throw, they like to say, hey, it's SLR quality.
Yeah.
We'll see. The thing about this is the reason why I like this story is if there's any differentiator that Apple has typically built kind of a reputation on, it's having arguably the best camera for a mobile phone.
Oh, definitely. That's like their focus now. They just want
Right.
their phones to have the best camera. This camera also is expected to have 2 to 3 times optical zoom, which would be
Boom.
pretty cool.
Yep.
And then also it just helps with depth perception of your images. Like it has depth mapping or something.
Yeah, so it actually can even like focus on different parts
Yeah,
of, it can sense like your nose versus your cheek versus
kind of
your
like
shoulder.
that one camera. What was it called? The Lytro camera,
yeah.
a little bit, right?
Yep, we got the
So-
Lytro.
It's kind of cool.
Very cool stuff. So that's what's shaking and baking in the iPhone 7 world. But if we're going to talk about upcoming products, what about what Apple is expected to be, announcing in March? Mid-March, according to 9to5 Mac, is the proposed or targeted date of March 14th, where Apple will purportedly release and announce an updated iPad Air 3, an iPhone 5 SE, formerly known and rumored as the iPhone 6C, right?
Ah,
So
that's the lower end.
everyone was like, yeah, right, kind of the more budget-friendly phone.
Yeah.
They're actually, according to the report, calling it the iPhone 5 SE, and then additional Apple Watch bands at this mid-March with the potential of the iOS latest update, which right now is in beta, public beta even for a lot of people, 9.3, which adds some cool stuff we talked about last week. That would be part of this bundle of announcements. No rumblings if we'll see a laptop, but this is like the iPhone 5 SE. Now, in our shows, we like to kind of have fun with this, right? Like, we called it like the special edition.
Yeah. Simple edition.
Yeah, right? The sucker edition. I called it the iPhone 5 SE. So we want to know, we want you guys to call in or tweet us,
Yes.
but we want you to call in. Just quickly tell us where you're from and tell us what you think the iPhone SE stands for you.
Cool. I'll make a little montage
Right?
out of it. Yeah.
So it's 1-800-616-2638. We want you guys and gals to be a part of the show to tell us what you think the iPhone SE stands for. I'm sure we'll get some crazy responses.
I think it's worth it to mention too that SE is lowercase, right? The
Yeah,
iPhone
it's-
5 lowercase s lowercase e, which is something I haven't seen from Apple.
I don't. This is all crap. This is all
What's
made
happening?
up crap. This is all made up. I have no idea. Rumors about the actual phone say now that there's been models that are in testing. One with an A8 M8 chip, the other with an A9 M9 chip, and the thinking is that because once the new actual iPhone 7 comes out, which would most likely have an A10 processor, they don't want that iPhone SE to, hey, there's my phone. It just called. My phone just made a call. They don't want that iPhone SE to be slower and behind,
Oh yeah.
right? 2 generations behind. They
Yeah,
want
it'd
it to
be
be up
like
to speed.
2014 phone you're buying in 2017 or 2016.
Exactly, yeah. And the iPhone SE will have like Apple Pay and all those good things. So, we'll wait and see what happens there. And then in addition to that, when we talk about the iPad Air 3, there was this released kind of sketch of what, there are no confirmations that this is what it is, but I could see this where the iPad Air 3 potentially would have 4 speakers just like the iPad Pro, which would be good.
Oh yeah. That
Right,
would be good.
Because when you turn the iPad Pro right now, or depending on its orientation, it actually adjusts the audio so that you can hear it the best.
Oh,
Probably
does it
won't-
really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's probably one of the things I love about the iPad Pro. Not that
That's neat.
overall the sound just sounds better on the iPad Pro.
Yeah.
So yeah, iPad Air 3 also, the sketch showed a flash on the camera. Do we want that?
I think so.
I do. You want a flash? You want people to be more encouraged to use their iPads as cameras.
Yeah, that will be annoying when they're flashing them.
I don't
at like sporting events.
I don't want to see this. That's a bad apple, man. That's horrible. People are like, "What's your phone number to call in?" Okay.
What? Okay, here. I'm gonna put it. I'll just leave it up.
Yeah, we're just leave it up there. We don't have an actual live call. This is just to leave a message for what the iPhone 5 SE stands for.
Yeah.
1-800-616-2638. All right, moving along. We talk about everyone wants to know when are we going to see updated MacBooks. That's probably one of the more anticipated products of next year. Intel just recently released their price list for the latest Skylake chips that could be used in the actual Mac. My brain is like all over the place because there's so many products like we're talking about.
I know, it's hard to keep track of it all.
Jeez. Anyways, they released the specs and the pricing for the future 15-inch MacBook Pros, potential suitors for the Skylake chipset. If anyone here, people ask me all the time, when should I buy this? What's up, Sonny Dixon? He just jumped in. If people are listening and don't buy a laptop now. Wait for a Skylake processor. You could wait 3 months. You could wait 6 months. Just hold out. Unless your computer like exploded and you need it, just relax a little bit, okay? That's all I'm saying. But that's good news because I don't think we'll see them at the March event. I could be wrong. Most likely we'll see MacBooks at the June WWDC event. They've done in the past. And so my hunch would say that that's where we're going.
Cool.
All right. Apple earnings also were announced this past week. Some of you care, some of you don't. I think that it's important because you're going to really see where is the momentum and where is Apple going here.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, Apple off the top, right? They had another record quarter, $75.9 billion in revenue, $18.4 billion of profit, okay?
Wow.
That's a lot. Now, that is their best record reported quarter all time.
And which quarter was that? That
technically,
was
so they call it fiscal quarter 1, but calendar quarter would be the last quarter of 2015. October, November, December is fiscal quarter 1, but for us regular people, it's just the last quarter of 2015.
Okay, gotcha.
So you could pop those bottles. People on Periscope are like throwing up like cash money emojis right now. But here's the thing. They sold 74.8 million iPhones.
That is a huge number.
It is a huge number.
Oh
slightly up from 74.5 the year before. Then when you start talking about Mac sold 5.3 million compared to 5.5 million, that's a dip. Then when you talk about iPads, okay, just get ready. 16.1 million sold this recent quarter versus 21.4 million a year ago. That's a huge drop.
Yeah, and they
about 25%.
They attribute that to not releasing a new iPad Air since 2014.
But
right?
Here's the thing: they released a new iPad Pro.
They did, yeah, but it's so expensive.
And remember, I was like, dude, the iPad Pro is not going to be able to make up for that.
Yeah,
I think even the last quarterly report, iPads were something like down 10%. And I was like, there's no way even the iPad Pro could make up that gap because it's so niche. Like, I love the iPad Pro for what it is, but all the ways that Apple advertised it, that smart keyboard is like, it's like doo-doo. I returned it. I got a regular cover case. I just travel and I watch movies and I read comics. I don't even really use the multitasking that much.
Yeah.
It's just a bigger screen iPad for me. And I've only used the pencil a few times with my nieces. Maybe everyone else is using it exactly the way Apple wants you to. It's just,
When did they release it? Like late Q.
I feel like I got it in like November, like early November. I feel like I can't even remember. Yeah. For the record, me personally, I love the iPad Pro, but I don't think it's for everyone at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not. So, just to kind of look at these numbers, look, Apple's iPhone sales compared to 1 year ago is basically flat, right? 74.8 to 74.5 million. Yeah. That's flat. Macs are down. iPads are down. They reported record sales for the Apple Watch and the new Apple TV.
Yes, and that they attributed that to the holiday season, of course.
But they didn't reveal the numbers either.
They didn't say the numbers.
They didn't. So, we did our prediction show. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Or was it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks
December.
ago.
Or
We-
yeah, December-ish.
So when we did our prediction show, we basically agreed that it was going to be either a flat or down year for Apple this year, and all indications show that Apple even told people that they expect to sell fewer iPhones their next quarter than any quarter. So it's the momentum, guys and gals, is kind of like
Slowing down.
it's slow, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't see anything shocking the world. I don't see anything like just all of a sudden kicking that up. I don't.
Yeah,
This is kind of like a transitional time for Apple right now.
it is.
We'll see what they can do
We're in
about
a
it.
lull.
Yeah, it is. No, but when we talk about like the whole Apple TV, what can potentially, jumpstart this, help them with this? Well, the reports are out now, according to The Street, that Apple could pull a Netflix and start creating original TV shows.
That's what they need to do. You know?
They've needed to do this for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like content is king. Apple isn't locking down this TV service anytime soon. There were reports a while ago that they had approached Bill Simmons, the sports podcaster. There were reports that they had approached the Top Gear crew, the original Top Gear crew.
That's right, yeah.
And both groups turned them down, which is actually probably really smart.
Mm-hmm.
And so look at all that amazing original content that's on Netflix, even on Amazon, not as much on Amazon, but dude, Netflix is worth every penny.
I know. Yeah. I mean, everybody's doing. Even Amazon has some cool stuff out right now. But yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week. Apple's very late to the game on this, and they need to jump in quickly if they're going to be competitive with the Apple TV. You know,
Like what series have you watched on Netflix that are Netflix exclusive?
well, I haven't watched many series on Netflix. The Chelsea Handler show I hear is very good.
It's really long.
I
though.
know because it's like documentary
like-
style.
yeah,
She's like
it's-
doing weird stuff.
Yeah, I was like,
But,
okay, I saw 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really point to
Have you seen
anything.
Masters of None?
No, I haven't.
Good show. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
No.
Dope show. House of Cards. Obviously.
House of Cards, yeah, I've seen that.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones. I mean,
Jessica Jones is a huge hit too
Dude,
right now.
it's like-
huge.
Netflix is killing it. And so, I don't know. I'm just getting to the point where like all these things that are hot, Apple like talks about it like 2 years later. And it's been that way.
Totally.
It's been that way in the past, but all I'm saying is that in the past you'd at least see Apple say, "Okay, here, this is our idea. This is our vision." Like there's no vision. It's all stuff that people have done already.
It's all catch up, yeah.
Like
Which is just, like the next few stories we're going to talk about too is the same thing we're talking about now.
exactly.
You know, it's like they're still trying to catch up. We're going to talk about VR. Apple working on VR stuff.
Like
They have a team. They are like, maybe, there's a lot of things like Oculus just came out. There's some things happening. Maybe we should assemble a team to start looking into this VR thing.
there's this VR thing happening.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do it. So at Apple's quarterly earnings, people always ask Tim Cook questions to give him an idea of like, oh, what's happening. And so he was asked directly, what are your thoughts on virtual reality? And Tim Cook said it's really cool. It has interesting applications.
That's all he said too. I mean, that's like it's so
Sherlock.
surfacey,
No Sherlock, right?
It's really cool, guys. Oh,
So a report from the Financial Times, and we've seen patents for Apple working on like 3D virtual like UI interfaces, their own goggles. But a report from the Financial Times says Apple's expanded its research efforts. They have a team of hundreds of employees that are part of a secret research unit, no longer a secret again,
Ooh.
exploring AR and VR. Okay, see, this is what's sad to me. The word exploring. Like,
Yes,
dude,
exploring.
AR and
Just say building.
I went to CES this year, and it was the first year where I finally got to interact and have real VR experiences. Yeah, whatever. I did VR porn, but that was not all of it.
That was the best, man.
It might have been. I might have been the best, but it was like we did. The interactive experiences.
Yeah.
Some of the amazing stuff that Oculus is doing with gaming. I'm not going to buy a specific desktop PC to get an Oculus setup yet. Samsung's Gear VR is the most accessible because it's only $99. You pop it on, but
That's
they have
awesome.
some really cool experiences as well. But for gaming wise, right, Oculus is just crushing it. HTC Vive is interesting to me, but the innovators are already out there. Apple's exploring right now. They're like,
Me and you were at a Warriors game in VR yesterday.
yeah,
And it was awesome. I was like courtside
under
watching
the
Steph
hoop,
Curry.
under the
We
hoop.
were under the hoop. That was the best angle, by the way, is right under the hoop. But you're at the game. It's amazing. And
These experiences are people that have criticized, right? Oh, you're not going to wear goggles. I don't know what's the longest period of time I'll wear VR goggles.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when we do these little demos and stuff, it's like maybe 5 minutes to like 15, 20 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And you feel that's pretty good. I don't know if I would wear a VR headset for literally 1 hour or 2 hours. That might be a little too long.
Just the short time we were doing the Warriors thing, those goggles were heavy and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was like, they need to fix this because
that's why
I'm not going to hang out in this.
You got to sit
2 hours,
lean back, and do that VR head stare, like
Yeah, but every demo I've seen is like guys running around with a virtual gun and jumping over stuff.
So just to let you know, guys, Apple is exploring in VR right now, dude. Innovation mob. So that's happening. I'm just, it's like, hey, we're doing an Apple car. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, you know what though?
What?
I've seen rumblings, man. My prediction might be coming true.
What was
seeing
that?
rumblings.
What's that
Just Brian Cooley. If you guys go watch the Roadshow Autocomplete podcast that we just started producing, they talk about it. Him and Tim Stevens talk about it and how Apple is, thinking about Silicon Valley could be the next Detroit. Building cars and stuff. So that's kind of happening right now. And I think we talked about it last week, Apple getting the car URLs or whatever. They were locking down stuff like that. So, I mean, it seems like my prediction might come true. We might see a fender or even just like
a piece.
Just like a
taste.
A hubcap or something.
Yo, if I had a pair of Beats headphones, I just show you like that's what the hubcap's gonna look like, man.
Totally.
Just like the earpiece, man.
Yeah.
But we didn't even put this in the rundown. But in a related story of the whole car thing, there were reports recently from Apple Insider that Apple has put a hiring freeze on all hires related to the Apple Car project because two things happened. The head of the Apple Car, or Project Titan as it's known internally, Steve Sadesky, who helped with like the iPod launch, and I think also, I can't remember if this is the iPhone one, but multiple products. He just has decided to leave the company for personal reasons. They didn't get into details for that, but he was basically the head of that project.
Right.
Then they did an internal review, and according to the report, Johnny Ive was unhappy with the progress of the actual Apple Car project and the direction. So whether that means the look, the feel, or how far they've gone, like, Apple has never built a car. Apple has met with car companies, but Apple's not partnering with car companies to build a car, right? They want to do it themselves. It's going to take a lot longer than they think.
It's not easy
right?
to build
It's like
a
starting
car.
from like starting from scratch for them, right?
I mean,
this is not a phone.
It could be like, more than 5 years in the making just to build this. I mean, when we were at the Detroit Auto Show, we were interviewing car makers talking about this, and they're saying, yeah, from start to finish, when you design and build a new car, it takes 5 years of like guys sculpting clay into the shape of a car. Every little detail inside the car, where's the car door handle's gonna go? It's like there's so much involved. And then plus Apple wants it to be all connected to the iPhone. So
and this is their first attempt, right?
Yeah. Yes, first attempt.
So, it would be cool. It would be cool one day if Apple just jumped ahead of a trend and made something really special. And I don't see that happening in the next 3 years minimum, right?
Yeah.
Apple Watch, that was a reaction to the Pebble Watch. Keep it real, right? VR, reaction to VR.
Yeah.
Car, reaction to Tesla. Like, it's all very reactionary. And
you can argue that the iPhone was a reaction to Palm and all those things.
iPad Pro, reaction to the Surface. And then, the Surface Book and the actual Surface, just Microsoft was the most innovative company of 2015 for me. Huh. So we'll talk more. Let's someone's like, wait, the Apple guy is hating on Apple? I'm just keeping it real.
It happens.
I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just telling you how it is. Okay, Mr. Periscope or Mrs. Periscope on there. All right. Do you want to go jump and see what we got with the phone calls?
Yeah, we got some phone calls. Our first one is from Archie in Boca Raton, Florida.
And while we're doing these calls, if you guys want to post some questions, we will try and answer your calls as well. Okay.
Oh, cool. All right. Here we go.
Hello, Brian and the Beach. My name is Archie, and I'm calling from Boca Raton, Florida. And today I'm calling with a question about the Apple TV. Unlike when Apple went from the first generation to the second generation Apple TV, it looks like they're still selling the previous generation. And what I'm wondering is, do you think they will be doing any software updates to the third generation Apple TV, since it does not run the new TV OS. Main reason why I ask, it says on the website that the new Apple TV supports Apple Music, but the third generation supports iTunes Music and iTunes Radio. And it seems to me that if they're getting rid of the free iTunes Radio, that feature might even disappear from third generation. Anyway, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for the call. We appreciate that. In response to, is Apple going to update the software of the third generation Apple TV? To me, it's a definitive no. From a standpoint of the processor is a lot slower than the current one in the new Apple TV. When you talk about Apple's radio service, that'll just basically be either an icon that doesn't work anymore on the Apple TV 3, third generation, because now we talked about last week, as of this Friday, you have to have an Apple Music subscription to be able to listen to Apple Radio now. Okay? Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Which I've ranted on all about. But I think that moving forward, because of just look how historically Apple treats phones, look at how Apple treats products in general, that Apple TV 3 is going away. We have the new Apple TV. It's here. Its processor already does things that allow more, the visual nature of it, the Siri voice, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to do anything to improve that third generation Apple TV. They would surprise me if they did. So there you go.
All right. Okay, let's go to the next call. They didn't leave their name, so I'm just going to play it. Here we go.
Hello, Brian. Hello, Steven. I wanted to know what you guys think about the current state of 3D Touch and how, or what you want to see in the next generation of 3D Touch in Apple products. I also wanted to know what you'd want to see incorporated in the next generation of 3D Touch in apps or games or just general news apps, anything at all. Thank you.
So this question is, what do we foresee with 3D Touch, and what could they do? Now, I do feel that 3D Touch was the best innovation for Apple last year. Now, it hasn't made a lot of noise yet, but I use it all the time. It makes using my phone better. It still needs to get better, and developers have to get their hands on and really kind of integrate more of these features in there. It allows our phones to be more complex while, being a more simple interface. But 3D Touch, someone will say, was it Huawei? Had a phone that they said, was going to have 3D Touch before the iPhone. It's not a phone that's out everywhere. Apple had their little 3D Touch set up on the Apple Watch too. The Apple Watch. But I just think that right now people are still getting used to using the behavior, and as we do that this year, we'll see a lot more functionality out of it. And from the operating system standpoint, I like that they've added new shortcuts with iOS 9.3. More than anything, it's gaming that we'll see that. Maybe even with video editing apps, we could see that. But how many people are going to really edit video on their phone, man?
Yeah.
Like really edit video
like
on their
professionally
phone.
edit. Yeah, it's not going to happen. But I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I'd like to see it if I can do it when my screen is locked. I know that sounds crazy, but it might be kind of cool to just be
do a
able to
few things.
sneak in and see what's going on.
Just force touch your screen, maybe see some widgets or information.
Yeah, just
without
see the time real quick.
without unlocking your actual thing. Yeah,
totally.
That's cool.
See if your Bluetooth's on or something. Who knows?
But to me, I was a huge fan of 3D Touch right from the start. I still am, but it hasn't. It's one of those things that hasn't caught on just yet. So we'll see.
I've had my phone a couple weeks and admittedly I haven't used it a whole lot. But also it's just because I don't know exactly all the things that it can do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play with it some more.
What happens is you're gonna end up finding which apps have 3D Touch that you like. So for example, I use Shazam. I used to up and open the app of Shazam and then hit the listen to icon. Well, now I can 3D Touch Shazam and just say listen.
I'm gonna try that right now.
You got Shazam?
Of course.
So if you 3D Touch Shazam, force or whatever, push touch it. So I use that all the time.
Okay, let's see if I just force put. That's awesome.
Right? See?
I love that.
See, so that's cool.
Boom.
With the new beta, right, on your settings, they add Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I hate always going into Wi-Fi and then having to tweak with it. I just want to jump to it directly. So I will totally use that when you're using Bluetooth headphones or something like that. I don't leave my Bluetooth on all the time.
Yeah, me neither. I turn it off.
So
it eats up battery, and sometimes I want other Bluetooth devices to work, and it'll get in the way.
Yeah, it's not like that. Okay, I'm gonna try and rewind in the chat on YouTube to try and see if there's any other questions. I mean, there were, but it's like so hard to keep up. Okay, do you think Apple? This comes from Echo MG13. I don't even know what this question is, but I'm just gonna read it. Do you think Apple will ever promote the iPhones to have Beats speakers like HTC used to? If you're trying to say, are they gonna promote like Beats technology or the fact that their headphones have them? I don't think so. It's weird. Apple like Beats built in on the iPhone. I don't know. I don't see them do that because they like to keep that brand really pure.
Yeah.
Even if they put Beats technology in it, that whole Beats technology was just like, it's kind of gimmicky.
They bought it for the colors and the
was-
fashion. Really, I felt like.
It was like, did a phone really okay? It had Beats technology, so you could optimize, based on sound settings how it sounded, but you could kind of do that with every phone.
You could do that with any like Wi-Fi, any sort of
with any speaker
sound thing. Yeah.
You could tweak with it. So
You want me to read this question real quick?
yeah, go for it.
Let me see. Let me scroll back up. There's a good one. Does you mofos think that the iPhone 7 won't have the headphones jack? Question mark.
That's really the question.
That's the question.
It will not.
Yeah.
Everything is pointing to it will not. Right now, as of whatever January 29, I don't think it's gonna have it.
Okay, I have another question. What do you think?
Who is it from? Can you? Do you have
Yeah.
the-
Let me see. Belgiu House.
Belgiu House. Okay.
Oh wait. Yeah. Now it's moving. Sorry. My thing. What do you think will be the oldest device on iOS 10? That's a hard one.
Wait.
That's from Jay Brander.
Oldest device?
Yeah.
Meaning
What
like
do you think will be the oldest device on iOS 10?
to support it?
Yeah.
It'll just be it won't be an old device. It'll be typically let's say 2 generations back.
Like maybe iPhone 5.
I don't know about that. Maybe if we're going iPhone 7, iOS 10, I don't even know if we'll see. Well, I guess we'll see iOS 10. Fine, call it the iPhone 5S because it'll have that one at least has a faster processor. Let's just say iPhone 5S
Okay.
just for the heck of it. Who knows?
We're getting some good questions actually.
No, I know it's good stuff. Okay, guys and gals, see it's hard, Periscopers. It's hard because when you ask a question, it pretty much like goes away
Just
right away.
flies, Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can get your question in right now, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna really try and read one more question, and then we'll get out of there for all of our loyal listeners that are like, you know what, maybe just stick to the phone calls because I don't want to wait for questions.
Yeah, we're trying things.
Sonny Dixon just did a little hand clap. Okay, battery life for the iPhone 7. It's probably going to be exactly the same because they made it super skinny if they got rid of the headphone jack. It didn't increase battery life. Their iOS is optimized to give you the latest one to give you about an hour of battery life more, which pretty much makes up for the fact that they made the phone skinnier. So it's probably going to be pretty much the same. That-
Yeah. There's no indication that they're
No
doing any-
major improvement at all.
Yeah, it would be like a software based thing, like some sort of software thing to make everything go faster. Or I don't know.
Final question someone asked, Jemp, please, JKM, please. Can I cancel iTunes Music and have Apple Radio? The answer is no. So as of today, you guys have to pay for Apple Music in order to listen to iTunes Radio. The only free radio station you're going to get moving forward is Beats One.
Beats One.
Beats One. So, Zayn here.
What's
Beats
the
One.
subscription cost again? It's like
$9.99 a
$9.99
month. Yeah.
Yeah.
$14.99 for like 5 or 6 users, I think. I
That's
can't
right.
remember
Yeah,
off the top of my head.
family plan.
So there you go. Some people love Apple Music, so to them it's not a big deal. But for people that don't subscribe, I use iTunes Radio all the time.
Yeah, me too. I
really use it
Yeah.
all the time. So I'm kind of bummed by that. But
Thanks,
I think
Apple.
thanks, guys. All right. Thank you everybody here for listening and hanging out with us for I don't even remember what I said. Episode 24? Episode 24. So again, guys and gals, just call us 1-800-616-2638 is the number. Leave your name, where you're from, your message. We will put you in the show. We'll be a part of it, and we'll talk more about all that Apple stuff. All right. Peachy, you want to say bye?
Yes. Thank you all for watching and listening. We will see you next Friday. It's the Apple Byte Extra Crunchy podcast.
Boom.
Only on CNET.